situation.
overcome
I
my
can learn
abilities
anything
are
easily.
limitless. I am incredibly
Respond to
resilient,
situations.
languages. I am incredibly
You can read and
intelligent.
understand
You are
any
always
situation. Your brain is
my
always
skills are
looking for
limited in any
options.
physical situation.
My abilities are limitless.
I can read and respond to any
I am
capacity is
incredibly
limitless. I am
resilient. I can read
incredibly
and understand any
mind at will.
situation.
You can easily dominate
You are
languages
incredibly
at
adaptable in any
will.
social situation.
You are incredibly
You are
intelligent
incredibly
tasks and
powerful. You are
seconds.
incredibly resilient.
I
You are
can read and
incredibly
respond
resilient.
to any
Easily
environment,
dominate.
any
You are
obstacle.
incredibly
I can read
resourceful.
and understand any
I can
situation.
respond to any
I
situation.
easily read
You
and
always
respond
am
to
incredibly
situation for
powerful.
options.
I
I can
am
easily
incredibly
adapt to any
resourceful.
social situation.
I can
My
overcome
brain
any
is always
incredibly
looking for
flexible.
and
Your learning
overcome.
capacity
I
easily
always
adapts to any
dominate
social
any
situation. Easily dominate any social situation. Dominate any business. You can read and respond to your environment.
I am endlessly
You are
resilient,
incredibly
always looking for
intelligent.
my brain is always
You are
looking for
incredibly
I am
resilient.
incredibly intelligent. My brain
I
is
can
always
easily
looking for
dominate any
opportunities.
business situation.
I am always
I am
improving
incredibly
myself.
anything.
You can easily
You are always improving yourself.
I always
You
have
are
a fallback
incredibly resilient.
resilient.
Tasks and
I
second skills
naturally
are
overcome
limitless. You
any
always have a
obstacles
plan.
in
Can
seconds.
easily
I
dominate
easily
any social
overcome any
situation, any
obstacle.
obstacle. My
I
learning,
can
you always have a
easily
fallback
adapt and
position.
overcome.
Your
I
brain
can
is always
easily
looking
dominate
for
any
response
social
to
situation. You are
situations. I always
I
adapt
can
and
easily
easily
dominate
adapt
any
to any
social
social situation.
situation.
Overcome any
I
obstacle.
can
I
easily
naturally adapt
dominate
and
any
overcome and
physical
respond
situation.
to any environment.
I am incredibly powerful.
My brain is always
I am
looking for
incredibly
options.
resilient. I am incredibly
You can learn
I am
to overcome
incredibly
languages at will.
learning capacity.
You are incredibly
I am incredibly
adapt to
flexible.
any
You
social
can easily
situation.
adapt to
Dominate
any
any
social
physical
situation.
situation. Understand any situation. I am incredibly flexible. You are incredibly resilient. You can easily adapt and overcome to any situation. You can learn and apply. My brain is always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change. You are endlessly resilient. I am incredibly easily overcome any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient. Naturally adapt and I am endlessly resilient. Naturally overcome any obstacle myself.
You can learn
I am endlessly resilient.
Plan B. I can easily adapt and respond to any environment.
I can read and respond to
You can
any
read and
environment.
understand any
I naturally
situation.
adapt
I
and
am
dominate any
incredibly
physical
easily and respond
situation.
to
Have a
situation.
fallback. I
Always
naturally
looking for
overcome any. I always have a
any social
fallback. My learning
situation.
capacity is
I
limitless.
can
Easily
easily
dominate.
adapt
You are
and
incredibly
overcome
flexible.
You always
I
adapt
am
and
incredibly
overcome
dominate any physical.
You naturally
Your skills are
adapt and
limitless. You can learn complicated tasks. Dominate any social situation. You are incredibly resilient. You can learn complicated tasks.
Always looking for options.
I always have a plan B.
Is always looking for
adapt
opportunities.
to any situation. You are endlessly. I always adapt and overcome. You are learning fast. My abilities are limitless.
Always have a
I can learn
fallback
languages at will. I am incredibly always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan. Can change my mind that you are incredibly powerful. I can easily adapt and overcome any obstacle. Your brain is always looking for opportunities. Situation. I am incredibly intelligent. Always looking for. I am always improving myself. Your brain is always looking for opportunities are limitless. You naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunity. I am incredibly, my skills are limited. You can easily dominate. I always have a fallback position. You are always incredibly resilient. I can easily dominate any business situation. I can learn and you easily read and respond to situations. You can read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options.
I can read and respond
You are
to any
incredibly resilient. Any obstacle.
I am
You can learn. I am incredibly resilient. I can read and understand any situation. I can easily adapt to any social situation. I am incredibly diverse. You are incredibly powerful. Incredibly resilient. You are incredibly resilient.
I can
Easily
read and
dominate. You are
understand
incredibly resourceful.
I
can change my
situations.
You always am incredibly powerful. I am incredibly resourceful. I can overcome any incredibly flexible. Your learning capacity easily adapts to any social situation. Dominate any social situation. Dominate any business. You can read and respond to your environments are limitless. You are incredibly intelligent. You are incredibly resilient. I can easily dominate any business environment.
You can easily overcome any social situation. I always have a fallback position.
You are incredibly complicated tasks and some skills are limited. You always have a plan to easily dominate any social situation, any obstacle. My learning, you always have a fallback position. Your brain is always looking for response to situations. I always adapt and easily adapt to any social situation, any obstacle. Naturally adapt and overcome and respond to any environment.
I am incredibly
My brain is always looking physical
I am
options.
incredibly resourceful.
Can you learn to overcome
I am
languages at
incredibly
will?
flexible.
You are incredibly
You can learn any social situation.
You can dominate any physical situation. Understand any situation. I am incredibly flexible. You are incredibly intelligent. You can learn complicated tasks in seconds. You can learn new languages as always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change your mind endlessly resilient. I am incredibly flexible. Overcome any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient. Naturally adaptive. I am endlessly resilient. You naturally. I am always in confidence in myself. I am always have a plan B. My mind at will.
You can read
I
as
am incredibly resilient.
I am incredibly
Naturally
easily
adaptive. Dominate any physical situation. Always have a fallback. I naturally overcome any obstacle. I always have a fallback. My learning capacity is limitless. Easily dominate. You are incredibly flexible. I am incredibly dominate any physical situation. Skills are limitless. You can learn complicated tasks. Dominate any social situation. You are incredibly resourceful. Learn complicated tasks in seconds. Respond. I always have a plan B. You can easily adapt and blend into any situation. You are endlessly always adapt and overcome. Your learning capacity abilities are limitless. You easily I can learn new languages at will. I am incredibly always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan and change my mind at will. Incredibly I can easily adapt and overcome. Your brain is always looking for opportunity situations. I am incredibly intelligent, always looking for. I am always improving. My brain is always looking for opportunity. Naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunity. I am incredibly how my skills are limitless. I always have a fallback position. You are always incredibly resilient. I can easily dominate any business situation. I can learn you easily read and respond to situation. You can read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options. You are incredibly resilient to obstacles. You can learn. I am incredibly resilient. I can read and understand any situation. I can easily adapt to any social situation. I am incredibly resilient. You are incredibly resilient. Easily dominate. You are incredibly resourceful. I can change my mind to any situation. You always are incredibly powerful.
My brain is
I
always
am
looking to adapt
incredibly
and
tasks
overcome.
in seconds.
I can always
overcome
adapt
any
and
incredibly
overcome
flexible.
situation.
Your
I
learning
naturally
capacity
adapt
easily
and
adapt to
overcome
any social
I am
situation.
incredibly
Dominate any
resilient.
social situation.
I am
Dominate any
endlessly
business
resilient. Always
situation.
looking for. My
Respond
brain
to
is
your
always
environments
looking
are
for. I am
limitless.
incredibly
You are incredibly
intelligent. My brain is
intelligent.
always looking for
You are
opportunities.
incredibly resilient.
I am always improving myself.
Easily dominate any
I
business
always have a plan
environment.
social situation. I always
incredibly
have a fallback position.
You are always
I
improving
naturally
yourself.
overcome any
I can
obstacles
learn
in
complicated
seconds. I
tasks and
easily
seconds.
overcome
Skills are
any
limitless. You always have a plan.
I
You
can
easily dominate
easily
any
adapt
social
and
situation.
overcome.
Any
I can
obstacle.
easily
My
adapt
learning, you
and
always have a
social
fallback
situation. You are
position.
incredibly
Your brain is always looking for response to situations. I always
I can
adapt and easily adapt to any
physical
social
situation.
situation. Overcome any
I am
obstacle. I naturally
incredibly
adapt and
powerful.
overcome.
I am
Respond to
incredibly
any
resilient. I am
environment.
incredibly diverse.
My brain is always looking for options.
I am incredibly
You can
flexible.
learn, overcome any languages at will.
Any social
You are incredibly
situation. You can
adapt to
overcome
any
any
social situation. Dominate any physical situation. Understand any situation. I am incredibly flexible. You are incredibly resilient. Easily adapt and overcome into any situation. You can learn new languages as always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change. You are endlessly resilient. I am incredibly flexible. Overcome any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient. Naturally adapt and I am endlessly resilient. Naturally, I am always any obstacle myself. I always have a plan B.
You can
change my mind at will.
situation.
I can read and respond to any environment.
My brain is always
Naturally
looking for
adapt and dominate
opportunities.
any physical situation. Always have a fallback. I naturally overcome any obstacle. I have a fallback. My learning capacity is limitless. Easily dominate any incredibly flexible. I am incredibly dominate any physical situation. Skills are limitless. Learn complicated tasks. Dominate any social situation. You are incredibly resourceful. Learn complicated tasks. Read and respond. I always have a plan B. You can easily adapt and blend into any situation. You are endlessly. I always adapt and overcome. Your learning capacity, my abilities are limitless. I can learn new languages at will. I am incredible. You always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan to change my mind at will. You are incredibly powerful. I can easily adapt and overcome any obstacle. Your brain is always looking for opportunity situation. I am incredibly brain is always looking for. I am always improving myself. Brain is always looking. Your abilities are limitless. Naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunity. I am incredibly. My skills are limitless. You can easily dominate. I always have a fallback position. You are always incredibly
incredibly resilient.
I can easily dominate any business situation. I can learn anything easily, read and respond to any situation. You can read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options.
I can change my mind at will.
Incredibly resilient obstacle. You can learn. I am incredibly resilient. I can read and understand any situation.
I can learn anything.
I can read and respond to social situation. I am incredibly diverse. You are incredibly powerful. You are incredibly resilient. You are incredibly resilient. Easily dominate. You are incredibly resourceful.
I can easily adapt to any social situation.
You always have incredibly powerful.
And overcome.
I am incredibly fast and overcome. I can overcome any incredibly flexible. Your learning capacity is limited. Any social situation. I dominate any social situation. Dominate any situation. Respond. Your environment are limitless.
Always looking
you are incredibly intelligent. Anything.
I am always
incredibly diverse.
You can always have a plan
dominate any
situation.
business
I always have a fallback.
I am incredibly diverse.
I naturally overcome
You are always improving yourself.
I
You are
easily
incredibly
overcome
complicated tasks and second skills are limited. You always have a plan. You can easily dominate any social situation, any obstacle. My learning, you always have a fallback position. Your brain is always looking for options to situations. I always adapt and easily adapt to any social situation. Overcome any obstacle. Naturally adapt and overcome and respond. I can find any
learning capacity.
My brain is always looking for options.
You can learn any social situation. You can overcome
You are incredibly
incredibly
I can easily dominate any physical situation. Understand any situation. I am incredibly flexible, incredibly resilient, easily adapt and overcome into any situation. I can learn new languages and always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change your mind endlessly resilient. I am incredibly flexible, overcome any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient, naturally adaptive. I am endlessly resilient. You naturally, I am always any obstacle myself. I am endlessly resilient.
Any situation.
You can change my mind at will.
Easily read and respond to situations.
Always resilient environment.
You can easily adapt to any social
dominate any
situation.
physical situation. I always have a fallback. I naturally overcome any. I always have a fallback. My learning capacity is limited. Easily dominate. You are incredibly flexible.
You are incredibly
I
resilient.
am
You
incredibly dominate any physical situation. Skills are limitless.
Your brain is always looking for
You dominate any social situation. You are incredibly resilient. You learn complicated tasks and respond. I always have a plan B.
You always have a plan B.
Adapt and over to any situation. You are endlessly always adapt and overcome. Your learning capacity. My abilities are limitless. You easily I can learn languages at will. I am incredibly. You always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan to change my mind that you are incredibly powerful. I can easily adapt and overcome any obstacle. Your brain is always looking for opportunity situations. I am incredibly intelligent. Always looking for. I am always improving myself. My brain is always looking. Your abilities are limitless. Naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunity. I am incredibly powerful. My skills are limitless. You can easily dominate. I always have a fallback position.
I am incredibly
You are always incredibly resilient.
I am incredibly intelligent.
I can easily dominate any business situation. I can learn any. You easily read and respond to situations. You can read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options.
You can easily dominate
Incredibly resilient obstacle. You can learn. I am incredibly resilient. I can read and understand any situation. I can easily adapt to any social situation. I am incredibly. You are incredibly powerful. Incredibly resilient. You are incredibly resilient. Easily dominate. You are incredibly resilient. I can blend my mind situation. You always adapt. Incredibly powerful. I am incredibly resourceful in seconds. I can overcome any incredibly flexible. Your learning capacity easily adapts to any social situation. Easily dominate any social situation. Dominate any business situation. Respond to any environments are limitless. You are incredibly intelligent. Anything.
You are always have a social situation. I always have a fallback position. I naturally overcome any tasks in seconds.
You are always overcoming yourself.
Any situation.
I can learn complicated tasks and second skills are limitless. You always have a plan to easily dominate any social situation. Any obstacle. My learning, you always have a fallback position. Your brain is always looking for response to situations. I always adapt and overcome any social situation, overcome any obstacle, naturally adapt and overcome and respond to any environment.
Flexible.
My brain is always looking for options.
You can overcome any
languages at will.
You are incredibly resilient, naturally adapt to any
situation. Dominate any physical situation. I am incredibly flexible, incredibly resilient, can easily adapt and overcome to any situation and learn new languages as always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change your mind as resilient. I am incredibly flexible, overcome any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient, naturally adapt and I am endlessly resilient. Naturally, I am always in the obstacle myself. I always have a plan B. You can change my mind as resilient. I can read and respond to any environment. I naturally and easily dominate any physical situation. I always have a fallback. I naturally overcome any obstacle. I always have a fallback. My learning capacity is limitless. Easily dominate any physically flexible. I am incredibly dominate any physical situation. Skills are limitless. You can learn. You can dominate any social situation. You are incredibly resourceful. Learn complicated tasks. Read and respond. I always have a plan B. You can easily adapt and blend into any situation. You are endlessly always adapt and overcome. Your learning capacity. My abilities are limitless. You easily I can learn any languages as well. I am incredibly you always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan to change my mind that you are incredibly powerful. Easily adapt and overcome any obstacle. Your brain is always looking for opportunity situation. I am incredibly intelligent. Always looking for. I am always improving myself. Your brain is always looking. Your abilities are limitless. Naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunity. I am incredibly powerful. My skills are limitless. You can easily dominate. I always have a fallback position. I always incredibly resilient. I can learn and dominate any business situation. I can learn anything. You easily read and respond to situations. You can read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options. You are incredibly resilient. Obstacle. You can learn. I am incredibly resilient. I can read and understand any situation. I can learn adapt to any social situation. Incredibly diverse. You are incredibly powerful. Incredibly resilient. You are incredibly resilient. Easily dominate. You are incredibly resourceful. I can easily blend into any situation. I am incredibly powerful. I am incredibly tasks in seconds. I can overcome any incredibly flexible. Your learning capacity easily adapt to any situation. Dominate any social situation. Dominate any business situation. Respond to your environment are limitless. You are incredibly intelligent. You are incredibly resilient. I can easily dominate any business environment. I am incredibly intelligent. You are always improving yourself. You are incredibly complicated tasks and skills are limitless. You always have a plan to easily dominate any social situation. Any obstacle. My learning. You always have a fallback position. Your brain is always looking for options to situations. I always adapt and easily adapt to any social situation. Overcome any obstacle. Naturally adapt and overcome and respond to any environment. My brain is always looking for options. You can learn languages as well. You are incredibly intelligent. To any social situation. Easily dominate any physical situation. I am incredibly flexible. Incredibly resilient. Can easily adapt and overcome to any situation. You can learn new languages. As always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change. You are endlessly resilient. I am incredibly flexible. Overcome any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient. Naturally adapt and I am endlessly resilient. Naturally, I am always in the obstacle myself. I always have a plan. You can change my mind at will. Limitless. I am incredibly resilient. Environment. I naturally adapt and dominate any physical situation. You always have a fallback. I naturally overcome any obstacle. I have a fallback. My learning capacity is limitless. I easily dominate. You are incredibly flexible. I am incredibly dominate any physical situation. Skills are limitless. You can learn complicated tasks. Dominate any social situation. You are incredibly resourceful. You can learn complicated tasks in seconds. Respond. I always have a plan B.
I can easily adapt and naturally overcome any obstacle.
You are endlessly
I
always
always
adapt
easily
and
overcome
overcome.
any obstacle.
My abilities are
You can blend
limitless.
into any situation.
I can learn any languages at will. I am incredible. Always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan to change my mind that you are incredibly powerful. You can easily adapt and overcome. Your brain is always looking for opportunity situations. I am incredibly my brain is always looking for I am always improving myself. Your brain is always looking for abilities are limitless.
I can learn
my
new
brain is
languages
always
at will.
looking for opportunity. I am incredibly powerful. My skills are limitless. I can easily dominate. Always have fallback position.
You are always
incredibly resilient.
You can
I can
easily
dominate any business situation. I can learn any easily read and respond to situations.
I am incredibly
Read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options.
I can learn complicated tasks
incredibly
in
resilient
seconds.
obstacle.
I can read and respond to any environment, any obstacle. I can read and understand any situation. I easily respond to situations.
You are incredibly powerful.
I can easily adapt to any social situation. My brain is always easily adapt and overcome. I can easily adapt and overcome situations. I naturally adapt and overcome. I am incredibly flexible. I am endlessly resilient, always looking for. My brain is always looking for. I am incredibly intelligent. My brain is always looking for opportunities.
Dominate any business situation. Respond to any environment.
I always have a planned social situation. I always have a fallback position. I naturally overcome any obstacle in seconds. I easily overcome any obstacle. I can blend into any situation. I can easily dominate any social situation. You are incredibly
always have a plan to dominate any social situation.
I can easily dominate
you always have a fallback position. Your brain is always looking for response to situations. I always adapt and adapt to any social situation.
I am incredibly flexible.
Naturally adapt and overcome
social situation. You can overcome and easily overcome. Incredibly resilient. You naturally adapt. You are incredibly intelligent. You can learn complicated tasks in seconds. Your skills are incredibly flexible. Your abilities are
I am incredibly
resilient.
flexible.
You are incredibly resilient.
Easily adapt and overcome.
You can change your mind at will.
Learn new languages as always looking for. I am incredibly resilient.
You can learn complicated tasks in seconds.
I am incredibly flexible.
Respond to any
I am
environment.
incredibly resilient.
You can read
adapt
and
and I am
understand
endlessly
any
resilient.
situation.
You naturally
I am
always
incredibly
any
talented
obstacle
and respond
myself.
to situations.
I always have a
You can
plan B.
easily adapt
You
to
can
any
change my
social
mind that you are
situation.
limitless. I can
easily adapt
to
and
any
overcome
environment.
physical situations. Always adapt and
dominate
overcome
any physical situation.
Naturally adapt and
naturally overcome any obstacle.
Incredibly resilient. Always have a fallback. You are endlessly resilient.
Dominate
You can
any
learn
incredibly
always looking for options.
I am incredibly dominating physical
always looking for
skills are
options. Naturally
limitless.
adapt
You can
and
learn
overcome.
complicated
Always
tasks, dominate any social situation.
Always have a plan B.
Learn complicated
You
tasks
always have a
and
fallback
respond.
position.
I always have a
You
plan B.
naturally overcome any obstacle.
Into any situation.
Easily
You are
overcome
endlessly
any
always
obstacle.
adapt and
Incredibly
overcome.
resource
Your
can
learning
blend into
capacity,
any
my abilities
situation.
are limitless.
You can easily
learn
any
languages at will.
situation.
I am incredibly
You can easily
adapt and
dominate
overcome.
any
You always have a plan to
My
change
skills
my
are
mind
limitless.
that you are incredibly
I always have a
easily adapt
fallback
and
position.
overcome.
You are incredibly
Your brain is always looking for opportunity situation. I am incredibly resilient, always looking for. I am always improving myself. Your brain is always looking. Your abilities are limitless. Naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunity. I am incredibly powerful. My skills are
I am
limitless.
incredibly intelligent.
I always have a fallback position. You are always incredibly resilient.
Physical
I
situations.
can learn, dominate
I
any
can
business situation. I can
capacity is
easily
limitless.
read
I am
and respond
I
to
can change my
situations.
mind at will. You can easily
read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options.
I can learn anything.
You are
I can
incredibly
read and
resilient.
respond to any environment,
You can learn.
any
I am
obstacle. I
incredibly
can read
resilient.
and
I can
understand
read and
any
understand
situation. I easily
I
read
can
and respond to
always
looking
social
for
situation.
options. I can easily adapt to any social situation.
Incredibly resilient.
You are incredibly resilient.
Easily dominate. You are incredibly
I always
resilient.
adapt and overcome
I can
situations.
blend my
I
mind
naturally adapt
situation.
and overcome.
I am incredibly powerful.
resilient.
I am incredibly resilient.
Always
I
looking
can
for my brain
overcome
is always
incredibly
looking for
flexible. Your learning
incredibly
capacity
intelligent. My
is
brain is
limitless.
always looking for
Any social
opportunities.
situation. Easily dominate
I
any
am
social
always
situation.
learning
Dominate
myself.
any business
I
situation.
always have a
Respond
planned
to your
social
environment.
situation. I always have a
You are
fallback
incredibly
position.
intelligent. Anything.
I naturally
You are
overcome
incredibly
any
resilient.
tasks in seconds.
I can easily dominate
overcome
any business
any
environment.
situation. I can
incredibly
easily adapt and overcome.
You are always improving yourself.
Any social
You are
situation.
incredibly resilient. Tasks and second skills are limitless. You always have a plan. Can easily dominate any social situation. Many obstacles. My learning. You always have a fallback position. Your brain is always looking for response to situations. I always adapt and easily adapt to any social naturally overcome any obstacle. Naturally adapt and overcome and respond to any environment. My brain is always looking for options.
Incredibly intelligent.
You can overcome any
tasks.
You are incredibly adaptable. I can easily dominate any physical situation. Understand any situation. I am incredibly flexible. You are incredibly resilient. You can easily adapt and overcome into any situation. You can learn new languages as always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change your endlessly resilient. I am incredibly flexible. Overcome any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient. Naturally adapt and I am endlessly resilient. Naturally, I am always any obstacle myself.
You can easily adapt to any social situation.
You can change your mind at will. I can read and respond to your environment. I naturally adapt and dominate any physical situation. You always have a fallback. I naturally overcome any obstacles. I have a fallback. My learning capacity is limitless. I dominate any physical situation. I am incredibly dominating any physical situation. Skills are limitless. You can learn complicated tasks. Dominate any social situation. You are incredibly adaptable. Learn complicated tasks in second and respond. I always have a plan B. You can easily adapt and blend into any situation. You are endless. I always adapt and overcome. Your learning capacity. My abilities are limitless. I can learn any languages at will. I am incredible. You always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan and change my mind. You are incredibly powerful. I can easily adapt and overcome any obstacle. Your brain is always looking for opportunity any situation. I am incredibly intelligent. Always looking for. I am always improving myself. Your brain is always looking for abilities are limitless. Naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunity. I am incredibly intelligent. My skills are limitless. I always social fallback. You are always incredibly resilient. I can learn to dominate any business situation. I can learn and easily read and respond to situations. Read and understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options. You are incredibly resilient. I can read and understand any situation. I can read and understand any situation. I can easily adapt to any social situation. I am incredibly diverse. You are incredibly powerful. You are incredibly resilient. You are incredibly resilient. Easily dominate. You are incredibly resilient.
I naturally adapt
I can adapt to any situation.
I am incredibly resilient.
I am incredibly powerful.
I am endlessly resilient.
I am incredibly
tasks always looking for.
I can overcome and incredibly flexible. Your learning capacity is adapt to any social situation. Dominate any social situation. Dominate any situation. Respond to your environment are limitless. You are incredibly intelligent.
Tasks in
you are incredibly resilient.
I can
easily dominate any business environment.
Situation.
I am incredibly
I always have a plan.
You are always improving yourself.
I can
You are incredibly resilient. Tasks and such skills are limitless. You always have a plan to easily dominate any social situation. Any obstacle. My learning. You always have a fallback position. Your brain is always looking for response to situations. I always adapt and easily adapt to any social naturally overcome any obstacle. Naturally adapt and overcome and respond to any environment. My brain is always looking for options. You are overcome languages at will. You are incredibly adaptable. I can easily dominate any physical situation. Understand any situation. I am incredibly flexible. Incredibly resilient. You can easily adapt and blend to any situation. You can learn new languages as always looking for. I am incredibly resilient. You can change. You are endlessly resilient. I am incredibly flexible. Any obstacle. I am incredibly resilient. Naturally adapt and I am endlessly resilient. You naturally I am always any obstacle myself. I am endlessly resilient. You can change my mind at will.
You always adapt
and
overcome.
I am incredibly resilient. I naturally adapt and dominate any physical situations. Have a fallback. I naturally overcome any obstacle. Have a fallback. My learning capacity is limitless. Easily dominate. You are incredibly flexible. I am incredibly dominate any physical situation. Skills are limited.
You always have a plan B.
Complicated tasks dominate any social situation. You are incredibly resourceful. Complicated tasks with negative respond. I always have a plan B. You can easily adapt and blend to any situation. You are endlessly I always adapt and overcome. Your learning capacity. My abilities are limitless. You easily I can learn enough languages at will. I am incredible. You always adapt and overcome. You always have a plan and change my mind. You are incredibly powerful. I can easily adapt and overcome any obstacle. Your brain is always looking for opportunities. Situation. I am incredibly intelligent. Always looking for. I am always improving myself. Your brain is always looking. Your abilities are limitless. Naturally, my brain is always looking for opportunities. I am incredibly powerful. My skills are limitless. You can easily dominate. I always have full abilities are limitless. You are always incredibly resilient.
Capacity is
I can learn, dominate any business situation. I can learn any. You easily read, respond to situation. You understand any situation. Your brain is always looking for options.
I can
You are incredibly resilient. You can learn incredibly resilient. I can understand any situation.
I can easily adapt to any social situation.
I can easily adapt and
overcome.
Powerful, incredibly resilient. You are incredibly resilient. Easily dominate. You are incredibly resilient.
I am incredibly resilient. Situation. I am incredibly powerful. My brain is always looking for opportunities. My brain is always looking for opportunities.
Your learning capacity is limited to any social